So what's going on, guys? My name is MrDalekJD, and with the days leading up to the release of Ancient Evil, the Chaos storyline is going to be coming to a chilling conclusion. And within the entirety of that storyline, there has been something very big and secret that we have not touched upon yet on the channel. This being the new zombies language which Treyarch created for the Chaos storyline. In this video, we're going to be diving deep into this language, showing you guys how to speak it, what it all means, and going over tons of hidden messages throughout the Chaos story maps, and give you as much information you need before you jump into Ancient Evil. This is easily one of the biggest videos I've ever made on Black Ops 4 Zombies, and this took a heck of a long time to put together. So if you enjoy it, I'd really appreciate your feedback in the comment section. And if you want to see more cool videos like this, then you already know what to do by hitting that subscribe button. But let's not waste any more time and jump straight into it. Now, I can't take any credit for what I'm about to explain to you, as without the help of these amazing community members, we would still not know what any of these symbols meant, and probably wouldn't for a very, very long time. So massive shout out goes to Lowlight227, who was instrumental in finding roughly 90% of all of the keys in order to solve this language. There's also a ton of other people to thank, and you can see their names on screen now. I'd read them all out, but we'd be here all day, and I know you guys want to jump straight into the video. Now, do you guys remember this original poster teasing Black Ops 4 Zombies? This was the first image that we ever saw, and back then we had no idea what this was about, what was going on. But now, obviously, thanks to 9 and Voyage, we have a little bit of an understanding that this character is the priest that we see in the ending for 9. Is the main leader of this cult, which we're going to be seeing throughout all of Black Ops 4. But there's also a bunch of symbols which we managed to decrypt but didn't make any sense. And from then on, we've had a few other teasers, such as myself and a few other YouTubers getting real life perk statues with messages on the bottom, and then finally in game seeing this stuff. So you see this poster on your screen right now? Well, it actually says the destiny of the 9 is set in stone, and the ring symbols say, I betrayed the order. Now, I don't think we're really going to understand this until Ancient Evil, but it's still really interesting all those months later to know what it finally means. But enough of the poster for Zombies, let's jump into the actual maps. And this is all going to be breaking down these alchemical symbols that you've seen around the map. And we're going to even start as far as the 9 intro cutscene, because we have some messages in there. Starting with the clothes that the cultist is wearing, these alchemy symbols read to say, the Lords are 9 holding the truth. To hear the truth, we must listen. To see the truth, we must open our eyes. To speak the truth, we must cross the threshold and forever be transformed. Now, you see those pendants he's wearing as well? Well, they say the Dark Heart, the Lord's 9, the Last Gates, the Third Eye, the Rose Cross. And the next thing we're going to look at is the ending for 9, where we see this gateway opened by the leader of the Order, and these symbols spell the word Poseidon. What's really interesting is when we see the intro cinematic for Ancient Evil, there's a moment where a door is opened, and the symbols inserted into the door which open it are the exact same symbols which spell Poseidon as seen at the end of 9. Almost like as if our characters had to go through what happened in 9, which they then woke up from and realized was just a hallucination dream, and then entered that into the door to access the underground city of Delphi. Now, once you've completed enough of your challenges in 9, you get given a bowl which can be used for a trap, and this actually has a load of symbols on it as well, which says reward for the doomed. Now, before we dive into more of the alchemy ciphers around the map, there is also some traditional ciphers, which are text you might see on the wall. It looks like absolute jargon, and we're going to go ahead and break it all down for you. So this first one that you see on screen here simply says, your resolve is weakening, you will soon succumb. The next one you can find here, which says, if you are not the betrayer, you will be the betrayed. We have another one here which says, even a fool such as you may prove useful, turn around before it is too late. And then we have this one which says, all that you believe in will crumble to dust. And our final traditional cipher is a really, really cool one, which is text written with stars from the Hipparcos stars catalog. This is solved by finding papers around the map with names of stars from the HIP catalog written on them, and it simply says the library must stay hidden. Probably a foreshadowing for something we might see later on in the Chaos story. But now let's jump into the huge amount of crazy 3 alchemical ciphers spread around the 9 map, starting with the first one being in the underground temple area on the upper level with a hole in the wall. And as you notice, it is this pretty imagery of a scorpion. Now on its back it says Death of Ori, but funnily enough its tail still has yet to be deciphered all these months later. So as you're watching and you learn the process, see if you can try work it out. The next one is going to be in the Danu temple upper level looking up from the champion gong, and this has 4 different messages. It says, in the ancient forests of Island Green the mother of life bears fruit. Her children, the trees and people alike, she whispers her love as they grow. Barren lands shall grow at our touch, that which is green shall spread. For we are the mothers of life, our roots run deep. In chaos, it shall be done. Now, this is mainly just describing the nature of the Danu goddess herself. In folklore, she's an Irish goddess, but there isn't too much known about her, so Treyarch are adding their own twist and spin on the narrative when it comes to the goddess Danu, and I'm loving this stuff. The next one is in the Ra temple middle level to the right of the escargot, and this says, above the scorching deserts, beyond the sea, the Lord of the Sun sees all. His eye has stood watch over Farmer and Pharaoh, Ryrang and setting the same. All-seeing rat shall be ours as well, in shadow no evil shall hide. For we are the Lord of the Sun, our light reveals truth. In chaos it shall be done. Fairly similar to the last Danu one, that is explaining about the Ra god. But notice a pattern emerging with it ending the same, in chaos it shall be done. Pretty interesting. Now there is another one in the Ra temple, which is in the bottom level head side of the stone sarcophagus, which says gold and silver are worthless on the journey to enlightenment. The next one is going to be in the Zeus temple bottom level on the floor, and this says the many gods you worship will not have all the answers you seek. These just get even more cryptic as we go on, and since we know so little about the Chaos story, these don't make a lot of sense to us right now, but I know they will do at some point, and it's better to just have this stuff now, because Treyarch are literally throwing all this narrative at us. The next one is in the Danu temple, bottom level to the left of the Sorg 9mm wall weapon, and it says, worship of earth and nature alone does not lead to our gateway. Another can be found in the Odin temple, upper level on a central beam in the ceiling, which says the sacrifice of another is not enough to gain our knowledge. So it sounds like a lot of these things could actually be related towards the 9, which is really interesting because we know so little about it. The next one can be found on the elephant in the final boss battle, and it simply says Estelephant. Now this is a really cool sort of in-joke from the Treyarch dev team. Just like in Black Ops 3 Shadows of Evil, a handful of developers had their pictures taken and photoshopped to look like boxes, and this is a direct reference to Estelle Tegani, who is the associate producer at Treyarch and the producer for the map 9. So of course this map is her baby, she created it, so it's only right that she has her name on the elephant. Like, that just makes sense, right? That's such a cool little Easter egg. And if that wasn't cool enough, Treyarch sprinkled even more developer secrets inside of the map 9, as there are 19 different gravestones which all read the names of 19 different Treyarch employees. I'd read you all their names, but we'd never finish this video if we did. Estelle Tegani did get her name as one of the gravestones as well as being on the elephant. If you cast your mind back a few months ago where Treyarch sent me one of those amazing perk statues, which is a statue of Danu, we didn't know what the messages were on the back of mine or on anyone's, but this says, the knowledge of the past will reshape humanity's destiny. Noah also got a statue, and on the bottom of his Odin one, it says, that which destroyed the past will also save the future. So both mine and Noah's are both related to things happening in the past that will shape the future. Milo got one as well. This was a Zeus statue. And on the bottom it says, the transmutation will be absolute. Now, the definition of transmutation is the action of changing or the state of being changed into another form. And in biology, this simply means the conversion or transformation of one species into another. These perk machines are foreshadowing some pretty big events that we just simply don't understand right now, but still really, really cool. Smart Guy also got sent one, which was a statue of Ra, and on the bottom his says, energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Whilst I'm going through these, if you guys have any ideas what any of these could be simulating, then please let me know, as I'd love to get all your thoughts down below. Now, like I showed you at the start of the video, the teaser image for Black Ops 4 Zombies, which was shown months before release without us knowing or understanding this language at all, says the destiny of the 9 is set in stone on the left, and then the ring around the eye says I betrayed the order. This could be some really interesting storyline information which we don't quite understand at this point in time. I feel this is going to be so important when it comes to understanding the threat that we're fighting. I'm really excited to just learn more about the story in general. Now, I spoke about that image earlier of Serket's kiss, and on the actual death of Orion and the Serket's kiss, we do have some symbols which translate to literally the word Orion and Serket. Nothing too crazy there. This next one is a pretty long one, and it's for a Odin cipher. So if you walk down from the middle level and into the bottom level, the cipher is going to be on the right wall, and it's above the 3 shields on a wooden beam near the ceiling. And this says, through the northern seas and mountains cold, the wandering father guides men. In battle, in verse, in life, in death, his wisdom is often disguised. Our deeds shall echo in glorious songs, lessons of blood saved and spill. Through the northern seas and mountains cold, the wandering father guides men. Now, this is easily one of the most intriguing because it mentions the northern seas and mountains cold, which could be a little bit of a teaser as to where our characters might be ending up next. But also the mentions of the wandering father makes me feel this could be talking about the history of the Blight Father. It's the only thing we have in the Chaos storyline right now that links up with the word father. And it would be really interesting if there was a big backstory as to how this thing became what it is. Perhaps in another life or in a different actual physical state, he was a completely different person. That'd be really, really cool if that was the case, but I am just theorizing here. The next one you can find is on the top level of the Zeus temple directly above the mystery box, and this says, on the meridian shores of sand and stone, the king of the gods hold court. With lightning, his will and thunder, his voice heed all creation to follow. Our words shall ring loud and clear, sky, sea and storms. One golden voice in every ear. For we are the kings of the gods, our reign is nigh. In chaos, it shall be done. We're now getting a repeat again of that same phrase, in chaos, it shall be done. I'm really starting to think this could be viewpoints and messages from the cult that we're fighting up against in the Chaos storyline. If you've ever noticed as well, there's statues in the Pack-a-Punch temple room which also have a ton of different symbols on them. You can see them on your screen now. Side 0 says only the worthy will cross the threshold and be transformed. The next one currently doesn't make any sense. It says something about the worlds and then it's become a little bit jargon, so that's going to have a little bit of time to make sure that's exactly correct. Second one here says sacred knowledge we now guard. Next one, the corrupter's mind must be barred, and raging creation from the matter poured. And you'll be pleased to know that we're now going to be jumping into a different map to look at its messages, which is Voyage of Despair. The first one can be found in Voyage to the top shelf to the left of the Neptune Easter egg, and it simply says the horde will not be contained. The next one can be found in the poop deck under the stairs up to the artifact, which says, prove your worthiness. Then there's another one which can be found right after you spawn into the map by taking the left staircase down from where you spawn in Forecastle and look to the right. It's beside the 2 boxes stacked atop each other, and it says that which you need is within reach, which I can only assume means the Sentinel artifact or maybe a new part towards it. And the final one is in the central grand staircase, and this says you must be empowered, the horde will not yield, which makes it sound like no matter how many zombies you kill, you're not going to be empowered through this way. There is something else you must be doing. Our next alchemy cipher can be found on the back of a chimney, which is really tricky, and this one says eyes watch. We have the 6th alchemy one, which is in a really, really tricky spot again, which says chance lies within. And then finally, our last alchemy cipher says your journey is not bound by natural law. And we also have some traditional ciphers on Voyage of Despair, which are separate from the alchemy ones. And we can jump straight in with the first one being a flag semaphore cipher, which is actually leaked by the QA tester, which you can see a dancing homunculus if you look out, and a sniper rifle. And it says you do have questions of your family's history, you may not like where the answers lead, probably directing that one at Scarlet. Then we have a second one, which is a triliteral cipher, which is on the carpet inside of the grand staircase, which says avarice is why you lost them, indulgence is why you lost yourself. A third cipher is a QR code which was found very recently, which says there is a rage within you the others do not know. It may be your undoing, which is obviously a cipher related to Bruno. Now this last cipher I'm going to show you is actually inside the iceberg on Voyage of Despair, and unless you are dedicated and know there's a cipher in here, you're never going to see this, but there is a cipher wrapped around the entirety of this mythical tree in the iceberg called Yggdrasil. And big shout out to my man Lucas from the Vice Squad, as well as his friend Memes and Nat, for both helping to finally translate this message, which says, "From chaos grew the sacred tree, and you its fledgling branches. To usurp its power and draw from the root is to invite your own destruction." And that's all for Voyage. We don't have as much content there as 9, but still a fair amount of stuff there, and probably the hardest solved stuff as well inside that map with regards to the ciphers. But now let's move on to Dead of the Night, which has a multitude of different alchemy ciphers. The first one here is going to be on this table, which simply reads, "A shadow of what they seek." A second one can be found on a desk which says serve or sever. We then have another one which is under a desk which says the daughter will bear the burden. A fourth one can be found under a bookshelf which says the future is yours to write. We then have a fifth alchemy cipher which is in the billiards room under a table which says truth is never bottled. Now interestingly, as I make this video, there are a few ciphers which have been unfound on the map physically itself, but through the in-game files we can get these cipher textures directly. So this one reads beware the returned. Then we have another which says power is rooted in knowledge. And then finally the last one says die on your feet. Now on topic with that, there is also a bunch of other unfound ciphers which are in the game files but not found in game, which we can't tell if they're from 9 or from Voyage of Despair, but we'll show you them anyway. The first one here reads, you do not even know your own mind. It is a foreign land. The second says, the solace you seek will not come without sacrifice. This third one says, how can you trust the others when you cannot trust your own self? This one reads, once you were a gangster, now you are a soldier. What do you truly stand for? This one which reads, the path you travel will never fill your empty heart. And a wave of change is coming, you will be swept up in its wake. And last but not least, the most interesting one, as it is in Welsh, it says, the one you are looking for cannot be saved if you cannot save yourself first. And I feel like this one is a direct message to Scarlet herself, saying, the one you're looking for cannot be saved if you can't save yourself. Really cool. But looking overall at all of these ciphers and the alchemy language, what are my thoughts on it? Well, I think it's very cool. I'm glad that Treyarch have added in a zombies language, which actually has a bit more of a purpose in this game in comparison to BO3. I appreciated the Apothicon language and it was very cool, but we learned nothing from it once we got an alphabet of that language to decipher stuff. There wasn't really anything we could get that we didn't already know by that point. This is giving us tons and tons of information on prior events, future events that we don't quite understand the context of yet, but I appreciate that the language has a purpose to tell us that, rather than symbols on the summoning key which just basically tell you what the summoning key does, even though we already learned about what it does. But I think a lot of you are going to agree with me here, especially if you stuck all the way through this video, and I really appreciate that even though this is very cool, there's literally maybe 1% of players, or maybe even less, that will care about trying to find out what this stuff means, and an even lower percentage of people that will actually care about the context of this information and use it to come up with theories in the Chaos story. It's just an unfortunate byproduct of the Chaos story in itself that for some reason just not a lot of players are interested and invested in the lore and the story. And I genuinely believe that hopefully this video will bring a little bit more interest now we're in the lead up to Ancient Evil, depending on when you've watched this video. This is created before the maps come out, but hopefully this has got you a little bit more intrigued to look into the Chaos story, or to just think about it in a different way as we gear up to its conclusion. Now, I was going to make this next section of the video a portion on how to decrypt this language, so whenever you are playing games and you see messages that you want to decrypt, you can just easily use this method to work it out, but I feel like that might be a bit too long for this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to include links in the description, of course, to everyone involved in helping to get this language deciphered, and as well as breaking down all these messages linked below, but also a link so you can learn yourself. This video has been going on for long enough, and I appreciate all of you watching for as long as you have done. It's taken me absolutely ages to make this video, and this video was planned to be released back in November during the release of Black Ops 4 Zombies, but for some reason I just never got round to it. But now the community and myself have a lot more clarity on these messages. There's tons more that have been worked out since I previously made this video, so hopefully you guys found this useful, and if you did and appreciated it, a like rating would be extremely appreciative of you. I just thought, hang on a minute, I've not seen any of my peers in the community make a video talking about a multitude of ciphers, so I thought I'd just go ahead and throw it all into one video to inform you all and get you up to speed on where we're at. But if you enjoyed, let me know in the comment section with your thoughts on this language, if you think it's cool, if you think it's pointless. I'd love to hear your thoughts either way, but thank you so much for watching. Make sure to keep it locked here on the channel by hitting that subscribe button and turning on that bell so you don't miss out on all my future zombies videos, but I'll catch you in the next one.